Hi, this is Corey Strong, your Shelby County Democratic Party chairman, and I want to give you an update and some information about voting during this period. There has been a lot of concern about the number of unregistered voters that we have that the Election Commission hadn't processed, and the Election Commission had a meeting today. They also had a press conference, and they made it very clear on how they're going to address the issue, and so I want to make sure that I get some information out about that. First and foremost, the primary thing is that no matter what the registration concerns are, that we have to get out everyone to vote, whether we know about the registration status or not. And so that means everyone you know, your church, your family, your gym, whoever it is getting those people out to vote. We have hundreds of thousands of voters in Shelby County who do not normally vote in elections. Majority of those people are Democrats that we need to get out to vote, that are already registered, they're on the rolls, they just don't vote. And so that has to be our primary concern, is to make sure that anyone that we see that we know that this election will affect, that we get those people out to vote. That's the most important thing. In reference to the Conservative Election Commission, they've given their plan on how they're going to address things during this voting period. So they do have a group of registrations that they cannot complete because of some issue with the administrative documentation on it. It's illegible, doesn't have a social security number, doesn't have a full name, doesn't have a phone number, address, whatever that may be. And they have a stack of those. They also have a few that they're continuing to finishing up before the early voting starts tomorrow. So when a voter goes to the polls, particularly those that have registered within the last 6 weeks, when they go to the polls, if their name cannot be found by the officer or the judge when they take their ID, the process is that that voter, that judge or officer at that particular polling location will call back to the Election Commission. They have alphabetized all of those forms that have been completed, and they have a register, obviously, of the online forms that may or may not have been completed. And they will give the name of the voter to the Election Commission people at the headquarters. They will check it through the alphabetized information they have and see if that is one of the forms that was incomplete. If it was incomplete or illegible or something was missing, they will then take that voter's information based off their identification, complete your registration on site, and then you will be able to cast a normal ballot. So I say again, last 6 weeks, you left off some information, show up to the polls, they say, we don't have you in the system. Officer will then call back to the headquarters, say, hey, do you have Scott Miller? Yes, Scott Miller, but I don't have their social security number, I don't have their phone number. They will complete your registration then, and then allow you to vote that day, normal ballot with the machine. They will enter you into the system, complete your registration, you'll be good to go. Now, if for some reason you are not in the system, for whatever reason you're not in the system, at that point, request a provisional ballot. They should offer you one, but you should request a provisional ballot. That will give them more time after the election to research whether you turned in a paper form that is completely legible, but now we know who it is, or you filled something out online, but it was incomplete, or they have some other reference to you. But fill out a provisional ballot. So if all else fails, no matter who you are or when you registered, please fill out a provisional ballot to make sure that your vote is counted. So no matter who you are, whether or not you remember what your registration status is, please show up to the polls. If you registered in the last 6 weeks, they have a process to get you registered on site and to complete your information if they have it. And if they don't, then fill out a provisional ballot that will give them more time to research. So at the end of the day, the Election Commission has done a fairly good job to provide a solution to make sure that everybody's registered to vote. But now we have to do our part as Democrats to get people elected, okay? So take everyone you can, get them out to the polls, whoever it is, people at your church or your gym or wherever, the gas station, whoever you know, and get those people out there. We have this election is incredibly important, particularly for Memphis and Shelby County, but issues like expanding Medicaid, the balance of power in our Senate, all of that is super important. Tennessee is in the crosshairs of being able to affect those things, and Tennessee goes as Shelby County goes. We're the largest Democratic county. We have to get people out to vote in order to make our voices heard. So please vote Democrat all the way up and down the ticket. Bredesen, Dean, Cohen, Pearson, whoever your state senator or state rep is, please vote across the board for all those people. But again, the Election Commission is going to be very supportive, and they're doing training to make sure their officers are ready to receive people if there's issues with registration. So we need to take advantage of this and get people out to the polls as soon as possible. So I thank everybody that was at the commission meeting today, and everybody that has spoken with the Election Commission, and those that have supported League of Women Voters, other organizations. And so we need to do our part now and bring this election home for people that we know are going to represent us in office. So if you have any questions, please contact the Shelby County Democratic Party. You can email us at info@shelbydem.org. You can contact us on our website, and also you can contact us on Facebook, Twitter, and inbox us in any of those places. So if you have any questions, you can contact us directly. Please do so. We can answer those questions, but again, get people out to vote, and if there's any issues, those election officers are going to be ready throughout the early voting period and throughout the election to support us and serve those, because we all are trying to get as many people to participate in the process as possible. So again, this is Corey Strong. Thanks for listening, and if there's anyone that has questions about this process or is unsure or is concerned about it, please share this video on every page or every place you can on social media, email group, email lists, listservs, so that people know this information and they're ready to go starting tomorrow for early vote. So thank you, and we'll see you at the polls.